So today officially we are starting with the first module. Previously we just have introduced you. We have undergone the introduction about genetic engineering, what we have to study in this. Now in module 1, following are your topics. First is the restriction endonuclease. Second is DNA ligases. Third is DNA polymerase, polynucleotide kinase, alkaline phosphatase, nucleases, reverse transcriptase, linkers and adapters. Now, when we will look at the module 2, what we will find up to here, or we can say except linkers and adapters, all these are the enzymes which are involved in DNA manipulation. So moving toward your first topic, which is restriction endonuclease, but before that we must know what actually we do in genetic engineering. In very layman language, what we do, we first, we have here, we have a vector and our desired gene sequence. We want this desired gene sequence to be inserted inside the host cell. So for that, what we will be doing, we will insert this desired gene sequence in our vector. Now what we are having a recombinant vector where it is carrying our desired gene sequence. Now after that, what will happen, this desired gene sequence along with the vector, we will transmit that inside the bacterium or some other cells, from where we can isolate a large number of this our desired genes product. After that, what we will be doing, after inserting this desired genes along with the vector in the bacterium, we will be planting it inside the nutrient agar. So definitely what will happen, the bacterial colonies will grow, and definitely the genes inserted inside the bacteria will also be replicating, and we will be having a large number of our desired genes which we are looking for. So in summary, what we do, we take a vector, we take the fragment of DNA. What is this fragment of DNA? This fragment of DNA is our desired genes which we want in very high amount or in replicated form. So it is not possible that directly we can transplant this gene in our host cell. So because of that, we need vector. So we will be reading about the vector in our further modules, where we will be calling it as a plasmid vector, M13 vector, like that. Okay, so what we have done, we have inserted our desired gene in the vector to form a recombinant DNA molecule. After that, we have inoculated or not inoculated, we have transferred this vector inside the bacterium. This bacterium, what will happen inside the bacterium, this bacterium will be having all the physiological thing which will support the replication of this plasmid. So definitely what will happen, the plasmid will undergo replication and its number will increase, and when the bacteria will divide by binary fission, this plasmid, this replicated or the copied plasmid will also be divided, and this will be what, from where we will be getting this replicated form of the bacteria from the colonies which we have grown in a solid medium. So the medium may be containing of any desired nutrient support which is required for the bacterial growth. Basically, we prefer the nutrient agar. Now this was the summary. Now what we need, we need restriction endonuclease to carry out all this process. What we are doing here, we are making a cut, making a section in the vector so that we can insert our desired gene inside the vector. And now, and where we are getting this desired gene, we have cut this segment from some other genome so that we can insert it in our vector. So in both the cases, either to isolate our fragment, our desired fragment, or to get it inserted inside the vector, we need some Caesar like thing. So biological Caesar. What is the biological Caesar here? Restriction endonuclease is the biological Caesar which has now been used in all the areas where we need to insert our desired gene. Before moving more about the restriction endonuclease, first let's have a look about the history. What actually, from where it was known that restriction endonuclease is there present inside the bacterium. Basically, it has been isolated from the bacteria. So in 1950s, what happened? It was seen that certain bacteria are there. Bacteriophage. What is bacteriophage?
Virus that infects bacteria.
Repeat, please.
Viruses that infect bacteria are known as bacteriophage.
Yes, yes, that is bacteriophage. But what it was analyzed that what is the mechanism? First, bacteriophage come and sit over the bacteria, then it insert its its genome inside the its genome inside the bacterium. So what will happen after insertion? This virus genome will be inserted inside the bacteria to carry out just like that of the vector. What we have seen in our vector, that this if this is our vector, then what we have seen, our desired gene has inserted inside our vector. So just like that, here also bacteriophage bacteriophage genome will be integrated with the genomes of the bacterium, and along with the replication of the bacteria, the genome of virus will also replicate, and from there all the proteins which are required for its replication of the bacteriophage will be there. But in 1950s, it was recognized that there are certain bacteria which has resistance against the bacteriophage. Now, when the detailed studies was done, it was analyzed that bacteria releases certain kind of enzymes which used to restrict, which used to cut the genome of viruses into small pieces. Now, again, question arises, if the bacteria has of the virus DNA or RNA of the virus into small pieces so that it will not be infectious inside the bacteria, then why not the genome of bacteria itself got restricted? So though it took 20 years to analyze this fact that bacteria, the genome of bacteria has certain methylation on the surface of its own genome, so that this restriction enzymes is not able to bind over the specific site where it can cut the genome. So from here the discovery of restriction endonuclease come into existence. Now, before moving to restriction endonuclease directly, we must know a very brief idea about what is the DNA manipulative enzymes. Basically, we use four types of DNA manipulative enzyme. One is the nucleases enzyme, ligases, polymerases, and modifying enzyme. Restriction endonuclease is categorized under the nucleases enzyme. So now finally coming toward the nucleases enzymes, what it is? It is an enzyme which has the ability to break down this phosphodiester bond, this bond which is there, which connect the 5 prime to the 3 prime end of the DNA by the help of phosphodiester bond. This bond will be broken down by the help of endonucleases so that the DNA strand can be loosed out or it can be broken down into pieces. Further, we categorize the nuclease enzyme into two parts. One is the endonuclease and another is the exonuclease. Now moving toward the exonuclease. What is exonuclease? Exo, the name itself is indicating from the outer side. So when the nuclease enzyme is cutting DNA or breaking the phosphodiester bond from the terminal side, then that is known as exonuclease. So what we have seen in first case, I have given the two example. In example A, what we will see that phosphodiester bond will be broken down from the terminal from both 3 prime to 5 prime. What it will be here? Here it will be 3 prime and other it will be anti-parallel to the one strand and it will 5 prime. So what we can see here, it can cut the can cut the DNA only from both the side, 3 prime as well as 5 prime. That's why what it is doing, it is creating a blunt end. So here it is completely blunt and no sharp edge is there. Whereas the second example, of exonuclease is what? It will be recognizing only 3' side of the DNA, and it will start cutting DNA in such a way that we will be having a hanging end. So this is what? This is just hanging. Nothing is there which is in support of this end of the DNA. So this is known as the hanging end. So what we will be having? We will be having the 5' end hanging, and this type of restriction process is known as hanging and processing. Example of such enzymes is what? BAL31 is the enzyme which produces the blunt end by cutting both the 3' and 5' side of the DNA, whereas exonuclease 3 is the enzyme which can cut the DNA only from the 3' side. Okay. There are few enzymes also which can cut from the 5' side, but I have not mentioned in the example. Till now, any doubt? No? So moving forward.
No, ma'am.
Another type of nuclease is what? Endonuclease. Endo name itself is suggesting that it is from the internal part of the DNA. So what we will see, the DNA will be broken down into small pieces. Here also, though I have represented only the blunt and DNA size piece of DNA, but it can also be hanging and also in the case of endonuclease also. Okay. Now, another thing about the restriction endonuclease is that there is a certain nomenclature how we can call it as a, or how it can be nomenclated. Previously, I have given the example of exonuclease 3, but that is not the right way of nomenclature of any exonuclease or any endonuclease, or simply I can say any nucleus enzyme cannot be named like that. So how we will name it? Here one example is given, eco R1. Another thing what you have recognized, that first 3 letter is in italic, whereas other in the normal font. Why it is so? It is to represent that first 3 letter is the organism from where the enzyme is being isolated. So the first letter represent your genus is Escherichia. Second letter represent the species coli. The second or third both. R1. 1 is the Roman number, it is not I, it is the Roman number 1. So what it is representing? R is representing the strain, whereas this Roman number is representing in the order in which the enzyme has been isolated. So it is not only that E. coli will be having only one type of restriction endonuclease, it will be having multiple type of restriction endonuclease enzyme. So the sequence in which it has been isolated, it may be possible the first time when we have isolated enzyme from E. coli, then it is the eco R1. When we have again we have done the same process, what we have seen that next time another enzyme is been isolated from the E. coli. So to simplify the nomenclature, what it was done, instead of 1, we will just replace this Roman number with 2, 3, 4, like that. Okay, that's why you have seen in your molecular biology that what we are doing, we are using the polymerase 1, polymerase 2, polymerase 3, like that. So we are just changing the enzyme, this Roman number to represent that the sequence in which it has been isolated. What is the other name of polymerase 1 enzyme?
Cornberg enzyme.
Yes, good. Now, till now what we have studied about the restriction endonuclease, that how it was discovered, how it acts, how it was nomenclatured, that how it, or simply how we will be representing it. So there are not only, I have presented only few of the enzyme along with the organism from where it has been isolated. So simply what we have seen, that first letter will be representing the genus and its species. So here, just like in BAM H1, it is 1, not L or I. BAM-H1, what we have seen here, it is first letter is in italics, where it is isolated from the Bacillus as a genus, and Amylo liquefaciens is the species, H is the strain, and the first enzyme isolated it was BAM-H1, which is having a particular recognition site. You can see a GGATCC. This recognition site is very much specific for the enzyme, that it will not be changed. If it will be changed, you see that you just analyze almost how many sequence are being changed. If we will compare this to EcoR1 and BAM-H1, what we will see here, we will see that instead of G it is A, and instead of T here it is C. So very specific, very point changes are there. Further, what you will be analyzing here. Here, how many sequences been recognized by EcoR1? It is GA 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Same 6 nucleotide sequence is been recognized by BAM-H1, but there are few restriction endonuclease like ALU1, TAC1, TAC polymerase. Have you heard the name TAC polymerase?
Yes, ma'am.
What it is?
Ma'am, it is thermostable DNA
Polymerase.
polymerase, that is PCR.
That is used in PCR. Good. So what is TAC here? Thermus aquaticus, from where it has been isolated. What you have seen here, only 4 nucleotide sequence are there. Now here in the last section, it is presented that which enzyme will be producing the sticky end, which enzyme will be producing the blunt end. So basically what you will see here, though only one sequence is been presented here, but basically how it is represented, GATTC. What will be its complementary strand? It will be C, it will be GAATTC. Now you see whether you are reading the frame from this side or whether you're reading this frame from this side, both are same. This is known as the palindromic sequence. So whether you are going from left to right, 3' to 5' direction, or from 5' to 3' direction, the E. coli will be able, EcoR1 enzyme will be able to recognize the site where it want to restrict. So in this way, what will be happening? Here the restriction will be what? Here the restriction will be from this side. This side will be restricted and this side will be restricted. So whatever the DNA sequence will be here, how we will be getting the DNA sequence? Here we will getting the DNA sequence like this, because here we have a cut from here. This will be separated like this, AATTC. Again this DNA will be there, and from the other side what we will be having, again here G will be there attached to the strand, the DNA strand, whereas the other part of the sequence, the recognition sequence, like AATTC will be toward like this. So what we are having here, we are having the sticky end. So that's why so many times, as last time I have drawn the way of cutting like this. So this is what it is producing. It is producing the sticky end. So now what it is having here, if it will be 3', then obviously this side will be the 5', because what we have seen that this enzyme will be breaking down the phosphodiester bond. So definitely when this phosphodiester bond will be dissolved, one side will be left with the 5' and another side will be left with the 3' end. So this way what we will be getting, we will getting the hanging end or the sticky end. The sticky end, why? Because here now OH group, phosphorus OH group will be free to attack, or will attach nucleophilically to the 3' side OH group, so that it can again form the phosphodiester bond. So after that, what we need, after being treated with the restriction endonuclease, we need to separate this strand as soon as possible, because otherwise what will happen, this strand will again be unite together to form a complete DNA. Till now, about the concept of restriction endonuclease, is there any problem? No? Now, now moving toward its practical application. You have learned that what is restriction endonuclease. You have a very good idea of experimental idea that if or somehow you come to know that you have certain gene sequence you have met, either you have met in the library in your lab, or you have got from somewhere through the literature review, whatever. You come to know that there is certain sequence of the DNA. If that sequence of the DNA will be inserted inside your host DNA, then you will be getting, either if you better be specific in one example, I better stick to the crop yielding activity. So what we have, you have, it is not my idea, it is from your side, that you have found, you have analyzed that certain sequence of the protein is there, which if it that will be inserted inside the host DNA, or I am taking particularly the wheat plant. If you will be inserting that desired gene into the wheat plant, then what will happen? This insertion of the gene will increase the yield of the wheat. Okay. Now here the challenge arises that how you will be recognizing at which side you are going to. You have desired gene, you have desired protein sequence from some NCBI site or somewhere where you come to know, or by using the phylogenetic analysis you come to know that this is a gene sequence. If I will insert in the genome of the wheat, then the size of the seed will be increased, which will be contributing to its yield as well as its nutrition power. Okay, that's very good concept. Now here the first question is that where to insert, where to insert. Okay, for that you can go for the blast first from the NCBI, or simply you will find that okay, this A is the site where we can, where if this gene will be inserted we will be having the raise in the yield. Another thing is that which enzyme, which restriction enzyme which you will be using. Okay, first thing what you will be looking, that what is the chances of the presence of that restriction endonuclease in that gene sequence. Here one thing is that what is the frequency. Even if what happens, suppose you have taken the BAM-H1 as an enzyme to take for your experiment work, but what you have find that the site for the BAM-H1 is very high. So first theoretically you will be screening for that. First thing you will screen that what is the cutting site, what is the nucleotide sequence which it is using to cut the, or to restrict the DNA into the smaller pieces. So how you will be recognizing here, how many sequence of the here it is 4, total amount of nucleotide sequence is 4, or how many nucleotide base pairs we are having. We are having only 4 nucleotide base pair, A, T, G and C. Total number is 4. So what simply we will be doing, suppose you have chosen an enzyme. Yeah, I have presented you know. Here you have chosen enzyme BAM-H1. So how many restriction site it is having, recognition sequence it is having? It is having the 6 recognition sequence. So what you will be doing, you will just put 4 to the power 6. So what is the chances here of being recognized inside the genome of the DNA? So there is a chances of 4096 or it will appear after, once after every 4096 nucleotide base pair. Understood? I mean to say, if first site of BAM-H1 is this one, then the second site of BAM-H1 will be after 4096 sequences, or 4096 nucleotide base pair. So it will keep on repeating after every 4096 nucleotide base pair. This is just a theoretical application, but it is not always true. This is just to screen your experiment, because what happened when you are entering into the experimental world, you cannot directly take the enzyme and put inside the, or you can just because in experiment what are you able to see, It is just like that. You're holding some type of liquid in your hand. You have some drops of water inside the append and you have added further some drops of water inside the append. Are you able to recognize that the DNA has been restricted by the endonuclease? It is not possible because the enzyme solution which you're using will also be along with the buffer. Why we are using buffer in this? What is the application of buffer?
To maintain
Why
the
we are not?
pH.
Yes, to maintain the pH, because at a particular physiology only, the enzyme will be functional. Now, what will happen? Now, what I am saying, it is not possible that you will just random. To avoid this randomness, to be specific for that, to avoid the destruction of your resources, you have only 10 ml of stock solution for the BAM H1 buffer, and just randomly you have used it, and at last what you found, because this is not the only step that you will be able to succeed, that yes, now my restriction enzyme has been successfully cut the DNA at a desired gene sequence. So to come up to this solution, you have to undergo lots of verification steps. So to avoid this, to save your time, we just go for the theoretical application, that which types of restriction enzyme you should be using, what should be its application, and how many what are the possible restriction site where it can cut. Now, on this basis, first thing you have done, that you have screened the enzyme which you want to cut. Another thing is that the choice of restriction enzyme should also be tally with your desired DNA sequence, because the DNA sequence which you have cut, if you are cutting the desired gene sequence with BAM H1, then you should also cut the host DNA also with the same enzyme. Otherwise, what will happen? The complementary strand will not match to each other. Okay, so this thing restrict you to choose the types of restriction endonuclease. So in this section of your book, this is page number 72. The page number may vary because I am opening it with some other application. If you will be using in Adobe, then the page number may vary. Okay. Now, if we are using the restriction enzyme in the laboratory, first thing you have a screen that I will be using BAM H1, and you just put the concept, and coincidentally that concept has been worked. Now you are again carrying out with the BAM H1. Second thing here comes, you have to recognize what are the cutting site, what and how many cutting site can be there. That was a theoretical, that it is having 6 nucleotides recognition sequence, and it will be recognizing the BAM H1 cutting site will be after every 4096 base pairs, but it does not work. So to understand this, how we will understand that how many fragments and how many cutting site will be here, we need to know the map of the genes. So using restriction enzymes, we can also map the genes, that map the DNA. So here I have given you few of the example that how we can map the DNA. First, you try just by reading this. I just explaining you the question. You try which should be the correct one of this question. What should be the correct answer? 4 options are there. A, B, C, and D options are here. This is the question asked in CSI or JRF net. So I'm just explaining you the question. Here the first is what? First condition is what? When DNA is alone, it is 6 kb. It is 6 kilobase pair in size. When we are cutting DNA with BAM H1, then it is giving only with BAM H1, then it is giving 2 restriction site. One is the 7 kb length of the DNA, and another it is giving 6 kb of DNA. When we are cutting the DNA, restricting the DNA with hint 3, then what we are having? We are having 6 kb of DNA strand, and another is 3 kb, and when both are used, then we are having 3 restriction endonuclease. Now you just try to find out, so that I can understand how much you have understood about the endonuclease. After that I will explain.
A.
A. Okay. Who's this?
150.
60. Okay. Anyone else? Okay, let me explain. Has anyone tried it? Abhay, Amit, Anjali, Ayushi, Neha, Sonali, Shraddha, and rest. It's very easy. Sister, your option is answer A. Now, first thing, what it is showing. It is already been said that DNA alone, without any restriction in the nucleus, it is 9 kb. Here, two options is given. One is in the circular DNA, another is the linear DNA. Now, from here, just this is A, LAN 2, LAN B. Okay. Now, what will happen if you say it is circular DNA? This is a circular DNA of 9 kb. Now you cut with BAM H1. What will happen when you are cutting this at this side? Simply what will happen when you will cut a circular rubber band with a scissor, it will just go a linear. Will its length be changed? It will remain what? It will remain 9 kb. Am I right?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Understood? Amit? Amit, Shraddha, whatever name I remember.
Yes, ma'am.
Ayushi. It is clear to all?
Yes,
So, yes. So simply you eliminate option A and option C. So it will be either from B or D. Now moving to the next one. If you are cutting with the BAM H1, what you are getting from the linear, because obviously from now we come to know that it is not circular, it is linear. When we are cutting with BAM H1, it is cutting in such a way that it is giving two short pieces of DNA, one with 2 kb in length and another with rest over will be what? It will be 7 kb in length. Okay. Moving to the C bands. What it is showing, when it is cut with the hint 3, either it will be giving 6 kb or 3 kb. Okay. Now it may be possible that the presence of hint 3 enzyme will be this side. Just change the color of the pen. It is not going that way. Okay, try to understand from this only. So it may be possible if hint 3 may cut at this point also to give you 3 kb of length, and another will be what? If it will be cutting 3, then rest over will be the 6 kb. Rest portion will be 6 kb. Okay, one will be 3, another will be 6. Now to find out where the exact position of hint 3 is, what it is done, we have cut the DNA with both the enzyme BAM-H1 and BAM-H3. So what it is giving? It is giving 4 kb, 3 kb and 2 kb. So definitely if now here recognize, here the 2 kb length is not disturbed, No disturbance in two kb of the length. Not this side, from this side also 3 kb length is not been disturbed. Okay, but what we are having, we are having a missed portion of the 7th kb. So definitely where the site of hint 3 will be, hint 3 will be toward this side, hint 3, so that it is giving 3 kb. If we will cutting here, one band is here of 3 kb, one band is of 2 kb, and the rest of a band will be what, 3 plus 4 5 plus 4 will be 10 kb likewise. So the option should be option D. Is it clear? Now again,
Yes, ma'am.
what I am doing,
Yes, ma'am.
is it clear now? I need not to explain it again.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Still, just in another way, I am just explaining you, because it is clear from the BAM H1 that its cutting site will be here. Now suppose instead of, because it has given you 2 kb and 7 kb. Now if instead of cutting with the hint H1 toward this side, I have used this side. So obviously to make a 3 kb, the hint 3 should cut it this side. So it will be giving you 3 kb. Okay, but when you are cutting with the both, then how many strand you will be having? One strand you will be having, one cutting site is here, so one band should be of 2 kb, another band should be of 1 kb, and another band should be of 6 kb, because here the 7 instead of 7 kb, this one is been removed, so it should be 6 kb. So likewise you can analyze, or you can analyze the mapping of restriction site on the DNA if you have such types of restriction enzymes data with you. Okay, is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Now 2 more questions are there. You take the screenshot of this question. This will be your homework. Taken? I hope all of you have taken the screenshot. Number
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
second is,
ma'am.
number second question is this one. Hope you all have taken this. Now you all try with these 2 questions. We will discuss in our next class, and I hope next class is your practical. So from there we will, and this is just a theoretical way how we can recognize the restriction site, and how using some in silico study we can recognize the cutting site. We will be dealing in the next class. So till now, is there any problem? Is there any doubt in restriction endonuclease? You all are having soft copy of book. You read this chapter number 4, manipulation of purified DNA, specifically this nucleus part. Okay, this is page number 64. After nucleus enzyme, it will be ligases. Just you skip from nucleases here, you just skip to the restriction endonuclease part. Leave in between the ligase and all. If you want to study, then it's better, but still if you want me first to carry on, or you first go through the theory part, then I will explain again enzymes for cutting the DNA restriction endonuclease. Next is in page number 68. So if you don't have any doubt, we can leave.